This past weekend we had a fellowship. There's a ladies' fellowship. We meet for prayer every, I think, almost like 2 to 3 months. And this past weekend, we had an amazing fellowship. And the main thing was just walking in deliverance and freedom. And one of the things that God revealed was, I mean, by the time we were having that fellowship, the whole idea was because that there was, I was sharing, and I remember asking God, what am I exactly sharing? What am I encouraging the ladies with? And I find myself always just in prayer, thinking about some of these things. I realize for me, prayer is not just something, an activity I do, it's something that I do constantly, something that most of us tend to do throughout. Okay, at least for me, I tend to do it throughout. So just being aware, okay, Lord, I need help on this. And I remember wondering, is the deliverance that we're talking about, the casting out of demons and things like that? And I thought we were going to be praying and laying hands on the ladies amongst ourselves, and because we're also very good friends. So I guess I was like, okay, how is this going to happen? And I remember getting into CBD because that's where we usually have our meetings. And before I shared, Nami, by the way, I'm a very, what can I say, last minute person. At times the revelations don't come to me until the last minute. And then I was telling God, I don't want to just regurgitate what I have heard. Give me a new revelation. Give me a new revelation concerning these things. I don't want to just go and be for repeating, I mean, God has new revelations for us every day. And I remember on my way, I was listening to Derek Prince, and I was like, oh, okay, this is lovely. However, Lord, give us a new revelation. That was just it. So I got to CBD, and before I start, and by the way, this happens to me, I don't know if it is for everybody, but this happens to me quite a lot. I get rerouted almost at the point I am beginning to do something. I remember when I was starting this podcast, the main thing I was to discuss and to probably share about, and I was going to take people on an entrepreneurial journey of people's stories. And I mean, I was so clear about that until Shaya put on the mic, and in my heart I just had, Irene, share your journey on anxiety. So I'm so used to God rerouting me at that very last minute, and I'm learning to obey. So I've picked a word and I'm about to share, and then the revelation comes. I don't know. I see things in pictures. I'm one of those. I see things in pictures. When God is giving me clarity concerning things, I see them in pictures. I think also I'll attribute it to being a creative also, but I know of a few friends who also the Lord does that, and they're probably scientists. But God has different ways of speaking. But for me, I see it in the pictures. So I see the journey of Moses, and I feel in my heart a prompting to share about Moses. And I'm like, what does this have to do with deliverance? And let me tell you, when I opened my mouth, the clarity and everything came alive. And this is what the Lord shared with us that day on deliverance. It was Moses was born in bondage. He was born where his people were in bondage. And some of us are also in bondage. Then somehow God gets him out, whether it was through he did some crazy things, but he got out. You understand? He got out. Once he got out, a good number of us get out. At times you experience your freedom, and your freedom comes, and it's this amazing thing. And Moses, I think, was happy because he's like, finally, I'm out of here, and also I'm free. Nobody will kill me, much as I'm the one who's killed somebody. So he was running for his life, you get. And then God gives him freedom. It's strange, right? You are running for your life, and then you get the freedom, but because he'd have been a ruler, he'd have been a prince of Egypt for the rest of his life. But then God gets him out to a place of desert. He gets him to the wilderness. And at times, more often than not, through your deliverance, you're going through the wilderness, and maybe God worked on his heart. He worked on his just who he was. He was a nobody. He was in the desert. He was insignificant. He was obscure. Let me tell you, the things of God are strange. So I see Moses going back. The Lord comes to Moses. When God has an agenda, let me tell you, you could be living your life ordinarily, thinking everything is fine, and then boom, things just happen. Then God does what? He calls Moses and tells him, go back. Now that for me was where the revelation came in. And God tied it. The Holy Spirit tied it to Jesus. Jesus would pray over his people, and then he would send them back home, and he'd send them back to the priest. Why? Because the deliverance you have is not yours only. It never stops there. God rescued the Israelites through one man, Moses. Moses went back, but when he came back, he came out with millions. Your story, your life is not just for you. Go back. Just because you've experienced this amazing freedom, you have been set free. There are people in bondage. There are people who are waiting for your story. There are people who are waiting for you to set yourself in purpose. There are people who are waiting for that name. And at times we think it is the multitudes. No, it could just be your family. And that's enough. It could be that one person that needs the love, that needs the care, that needs the grace. And you're called to that person. Same way God gave it to you. Maybe your work is to pray for them. Maybe your work is to encourage them. Maybe your work is to build them something. Because we rarely are set free for ourselves. Can you imagine the impact that the leper, who you've been a leper, you've been in the street or wherever it was they were staying, or you've been blind all the years, and everybody in your area or in your village or in your town knows that this person has been blind. Guess what? One day you come in, you are seeing. Can you imagine the celebration that was in that? The curiosity, the visitors, and you're seeing everybody, and you're like, guy, you're Nani, you're so and so. Word is very interesting how they just never give us one story of how one person went back home and everybody was just, oh my goodness, just that, except probably the Samaritan woman. But can you imagine the impact of your story when you go back and it is you who is seeing, it is you who is hearing, it is you who is alive? Can you imagine the impact? And God knows when your story, the story is actually not done until you get out with others. So can your story get out? Can you live out your purpose today? The deliverance never ends with us. You have to go in and come back with others. Who are you coming out with today?